Terrell, and welcome to this video. This is part 2 of my mid-tone sketchbook demonstration series. If you missed the first video, you should go back and check it out when you get a chance. I go over some of my supplies I'm going to be using for this video series, as well as talk about a little bit how to use a sketchbook, how to do people sketching, and how to have fun in the process. Because that is the important part. So this week we're going to be drawing a character from reference. The reference I'm getting is from a website called iamchicago.net. I'll put a link in the description of the videos for you to check out. There's a lot of wonderful characters on there that you can draw from. In this video I'm going to show you several different approaches for approaching a character, especially one from real life. How to simplify it, how to get it down as quickly as possible, and again, how to have fun with it. Alright, to start with, this is our reference. I'm drawing, her name is Tranquillina. I love that name. And she just has so much personality, so much character to her that, yeah, she's gonna be fun to sketch. So here we go, let's get started. Each character that you sketch requires a different approach. Some are similar to others. It just depends on what you're presented with. But the crucial part to each approach is breaking down the overall shape of the figure into something simple, something you can wrap your brain around. When you think about breaking down a character into large shapes, into an overall structure, it makes it much more simpler to approach. It's not quite as daunting. When you first start off, just doing the drawing is the difficult part. You're trying to get the tool to do what you want it to do. You're trying to get the information from the reference or from the person that you're drawing onto the page, and all of that is such a struggle, and it's so difficult that it can be really frustrating, especially if you feel like you're following a list of rules. And what you really want as an artist is to get to a point where you've done it so much that you get bored of doing it the same way. You get bored of following the rules, and then you start to experiment. You start to have fun with it. You start to play. And that's when it gets good. That's when you start to find your style, find out who you are. The way it was explained to me is that you have to learn all the rules before you can break them. That means knowing what all the textbooks say you're supposed to do, knowing what your art teacher tells you to do. But when it's just a bunch of rules that you're following, it just feels so constraining. People ask me, how do I get my style? Style is really what you get when you decide how you're going to break the rules. You find the rules that work for you, and you throw out the ones that you don't need anymore. And what you have left is you. But to get from here to there, you've got to follow all of the leads. You've got to follow all the steps until you get the information down. So, the way I do it is a combination of everything. I do a little bit of contour. I do a little bit of chiaroscuro. I do a little bit of drawing through and building up shapes. And it all depends on the character. Like her, she's very short and squatty and adorable. So I want to start with something that sort of imbues that. And I can exaggerate it by making her an overall shape. So in this case, I'm going to start with just a squatty block. And she's got, you know, this weird hunch to her. She's sort of leaning over to one side, so I'm going to really exaggerate all that. I'm going to put her head way over here as a block. And then I'm going to make her dress shorter than it was, but it's going to be its own block. And then her feet, I'm going to make even smaller than normal. Her legs, I mean, I'm going to make even smaller than normal to exaggerate all these other areas. And then I'm drawing in just some quick lines to show where her feet are, the bottom of the feet. So this is my first pass of what she looks like. Now I'm going to go in with another pass. I'm going to put in her head. And you'll see how I'm doing these broad strokes going through the whole figure. Sort of a sweeping motion. I'm not trying to get it perfectly right. I'm looking for the energy that you get from doing these big brush strokes with a pencil. One thing that'll help you if you want to get more gestural and energetic with your character designs, with your people sketching, is do the same character over and over. Give it 4 or 5 passes until you feel more comfortable with the information, so that you can start to leave information out, the stuff that doesn't really matter to the character, and then you really focus on the information that does matter to the character. So you can see how quick and loose I am with the lines. So I think it would be funnier if her arms are longer. And so I'm exaggerating the proportions on everything. Putting the pleats in her skirt. And I'm not too worried about getting the details exactly right. That's the one thing about working with markers, is that all of this is going to get lost. All the detail, all the pencil is going to get lost in the colors. So you don't need to get too focused on getting it all the detail down in the pencil stage. Trading out my pencil for a sharper one. Okay, now let's get into her face. So for me, the most defining characteristics on her is her. I mean, she's just beautiful. I love it. She's already a cartoon. Alright, so I'm getting in her neck. And she's got a chin up here. I just really like her chin and her just this sort of a scowl smile on her face. Like she's like, I don't know what's happening. What is this all about? I don't know what's happening. Please. What is this? I always get quiet when I'm drawing. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're just learning how to draw. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll get with the whole process, and the more fun it'll be. You just gotta be patient with yourself and just have fun with it. Try not to think too much. You gotta remember that the marker will add a lot in a lot of this detail that you're going into with the sketch is gonna get lost once the markers go in. It's more of a painting process for me. She just looks like such a sweet lady. Anytime you sketch a person, always include their hands and feet. Don't leave them out. Hands and feet are hard enough to draw. That's why most people avoid them. But if you're drawing the person anyways, go ahead and draw the hands and feet. You want your ability to draw hands and feet to grow along with your ability to draw faces and expressions. So don't put off the process by avoiding it. Always include a hand. And that's where most of our personality is anyways. Everybody does expressions and gestures, gesticulating. Like, that's half the personality right there. And if you're not including hands, you're missing out on the opportunity to add personality to a character. I think we're at a good stopping point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this with the eraser. I'm going to lighten the whole drawing so I can barely see the line art underneath. So I'm softening the whole drawing so that when I go over it with markers in the next video, the line art doesn't show through quite as badly. All right. Okay, that's a good stopping point. It looks a little rough, but I promise it'll tighten up once I add colors to it. So thank you for watching part 2 of this video series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll tune in next week for episode 3. Thanks for watching. Keep smiling.